The effects of stress on the human body. Aidan, Gandla, and Venn, Reddy. Section 1. Exams, social pressures, grades, weight insecurity, and an overload of responsibilities are some of the factors that make our group and many other students stressed out. Some symptoms of stress for our group include bags under our eyes, tiredness, headaches, muscle tension, and stomach pain, with each of us experiencing a different degree of each symptom. Nerve cells, also known as neurons, are responsible for relaying information to the central nervous system, and these specialized cells have nerve endings which can sense pain and or other external stimuli when they come into contact with them. These are known as receptors. The cells can relay information in the form of electrical signals up through the receptors, up through the spinal cord, and into the brain. The brain will then process the signals sent from the receptors, and if the stimuli is dangerous or a problem, the hormone cortisol is released. These were our stress results for several stress results that we took. My tension level of 62% was severe. My anxiety level of 33% was moderate. My level of depression of 67% was extremely severe. On the second test, my stress score of 29 was considered high. I thought that the test results show my anxiety level was moderate and under control, but unfortunately the results also show that I have a large amount of stress and severe depression. The tests for stress gave similar results, being severe in the first test and high in the second test, and both detail how my stress level is high but not dominant in my life. We have finals next week, and I am stressing out about keeping all my class averages above an A. This is driven by several pressures from family, friends, and schoolwork. Sometimes I feel I'm not fulfilling my basic duties as a son, student, or even friend, and this triggers my depression because I can't fulfill my basic responsibilities. This causes me to feel unwanted and unnecessary and leads to thoughts of unworthiness. The best solution would be to either find an outlet for the stress, such as meditation, or to better improve my organization skills. This would help reduce stress and lead to a much better quality of life.
My stress results were a tension level of 81%, which is extremely severe, anxiety level of 52%, which is extremely severe, and a depression level of 67%, which is extremely severe. On the second test, my stress score was 27, which is high. Honestly, I thought this number would be higher. Both of the tests gave similar results. In both tests, my stress was at an unhealthy level. There are many things in my life that are currently stressing me out, and I can hardly catch a break. It is hard to get things I have to do out of my mind, which leads me to obsess and stress over them. The past month has been especially hard with EOCs and finals I need to study for. I put a lot of pressure on myself to maintain straight A's, and this is part of the reason for my stress. Another factor contributing to my stress is personal problems. I'm going through a lot personally while also making time to help my friends who are also dealing with rough problems. This can get depressing and trigger my anxiety, which causes me just to worry more. I think what I need to do is find a healthy outlet to channel this stress into, something that's productive and helps both myself and the people around me.
Ani's stress results showed that his tension level of 62% was severe, his anxiety level of 52% was extremely severe, and his level of depression of 95% was extremely severe. His stress score of 33 was high. Ani said that when he did the test that showed the three factors, the results I got surprised me. I did not think that my stress level was high. Honestly, I did not expect the stress or anxiety to be over 50. I guess anxiety makes some sense and is closer to the low side than any of the others. The thing that shocked me the most was depression. Honestly, I did not expect the number to be this low at all. Stress and anxiety are nothing compared to depression. I guess with adulthood getting closer, life just gets more depressing. Also, my stress meter for both results were very close. This means that the test should be accurate and there's not a flaw. Somehow, all of our results had one of the three similar to another person. For example, Venn and I's stress and tension was the same. Aidan and I's anxiety was the same, and Venn and Aidan's depression were the same. Section 2. After watching the video, our group better understands what stress does to the body. We learned that our bodies respond to outside dangers or fears with the release of stress hormones, which can kick our butts into action. We also learned stress can worsen the immune system, inhibit inflammation, reduce white blood cell counts, and increase susceptibility to diseases. Stress also contributes to heart attacks, increased blood pressure, and strokes. Finally, it is important to find an outlet to reduce stress so it does not build up in the body. Some questions we have include: What is the best outlet for reducing stress? Which countries have the highest and lowest stress rates, and why? Section 3. After watching this video, our group feels like we can better understand the effects of anxiety on the human body. We learned that small amounts of anxiety can cause sleep deprivation, irritation, and muscle tension. Being anxious causes your adrenal gland to release the hormones cortisol, epinephrine, and norepinephrine. These hormones cause your heart to beat faster and lead to higher blood pressure, which can be harmful over time. These hormones can have detrimental effects such as shortened cell life, blood clots, and irregular digestion. We definitely understand the effects anxiety can have on our bodies better than we did before. 2. How long does it take for these negative effects to come to fruition? Does anxiety affect children greater than adults? At what point does anxiety stop being beneficial and start becoming dangerous? What is the average anxiety level of Americans? These were some basic questions we had. Section 4. We experience stress when we are overwhelmed or challenged by a solution. In the short term, stress can be beneficial. Long-term stress leads to higher blood pressure and increased chances of stroke and heart attacks. The hormones released under high stress can also interfere with digestive stomach contractions, leading to digestive problems and an upset stomach. Adrenaline affects your circulatory system by increasing your heart rate, increasing blood pressures, and damaging your inner lining of blood vessels. These factors can lead to the early stages of atherosclerosis, a condition where plaque builds up and clogs your arteries. Stress affects your digestive system by disturbing stomach contractions that move food through your digestive system. This can lead to irritable bowel syndrome, which increases your gut sensitivity. This composition and behavior of stomach bacteria, which negatively impacts your overall health. The hormone cortisol, which is released during stress, can cause the body to crave comfort food. This leads to unhealthy eating habits and lowers overall physical health. A buildup of fat releases hormones and cytokines which attack immune cells and lowers the strength of your immune system. Chronic stress causes a buildup of these hormones which destroys immune cells over time. This leads to a greater risk of diseases and infections, as well as slows down the body's natural healing processes. Chronic stress has also been associated with shortened telomeres. These regulate the lifespan of a chromosome and allow it to divide. They naturally shorten with every division, but when they become too short, the cell is no longer able to divide. This process is accelerated by the presence of chronic stress. Chronic stress can also cause problems such as acne, increased hair loss, lack of concentration, and sexual dysfunction. How we mentally perceive stress can have a great impact on the effects it has on us. If we all view stress in a negative light, then we'll have no way to grow and learn from these situations. It is better to view stress as a motivator, pushing you to work toward a better you and improve your situation. Stresses are factors out of life that cause us stress, such as people, situations, etc. We should view these in a positive light and as motivators that we can control rather than insurmountable obstacles. You should not view stresses as things that you are not able to control or overcome. This will only lead to more stress and a negative outlook on the situation.
Section 5. Controllable amounts of stress can actually aid us in certain situations, giving us extra energy and focus when we need it. The stress hormone is known as cortisol. Stress impacts the amygdala, also known as the brain's fear center, by increasing both the number and activity level of neural connections in this part of the brain. Increased levels of cortisol also cause the brain's learning center, the hippocampus, to deteriorate. This leads to weaker HPA axis, lowering our ability to cope with the stress. Cortisol is also responsible for the loss of synaptic connections, which can cause our brain to shrink in size, especially the prefrontal cortex. It also inhibits the production of new brain cells, which leads to loss of memory and learning difficulties, as well as an increased risk of depression and other mental disorders. Odds of depression and Alzheimer's disease are greatly increased in somebody whose brain is under constant stress. Section 5 continued. In a study, it was concluded that the amount a mother rat nurtured and cared for her young played a large role in how the young responded to stress throughout their life. Rats that had been nurtured by their mothers developed more cortisol receptors, which reduce stress and make the effects more manageable. Rats that had not been nurtured were not able to handle stress healthily because they had not developed these receptors. An epigenetic change affects what gene is expressed without changing the coding for the gene itself. The above example with the rats is an example of an epigenetic change. Epigenetic changes caused by the mother rat were passed down and expressed in multiple following generations, meaning that these changes are inheritable. The most effective way to reverse the effects of stress on your brain have been shown to be meditation and exercise. Both these activities make you more alert and perceptive of the world around you, also having shown to increase the size of the hippocampus, thus improving your memory and other cognitive abilities. Section 6. Sensory system. This system uses nerves in the brain. Nerves connected from the spine and travel to the brain and informs it of sensory info. Examples of sensory systems would be sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell. Basically the 5 senses. This also consists of a receptive field, which is an area of the body where receptors, organs, and cells respond. Digestive system. This system takes in and processes the food you eat and have consumed. Food goes from the pharynx to the esophagus and finally into the stomach. The pharynx is located inside the oral cavity and is connected to the mouth and connects the mouth to the esophagus. The stomach digests the food chemically and mechanically, and the food stays in the stomach for a while. After the food is finished in the stomach, it moves to the small intestine, where sugar and fat are digested. Nutrients and energy are then sent throughout the body. Food is then moved to the colon, which absorbs water from the waste and gets the vitamins. Osmoregulation excretory system. This system deals with blood and the types of water solutions necessary in the human body. Blood cells are usually, if normal, in an isotonic solution. If there is too much water flowing in the blood, cells stop entering your fingers and cause them to wrinkle. An isotonic solution is the best. This lets them use osmosis to transfer water in and out of the cell. Humans are osmoregulators and use this system and energy to keep their blood and other cells at the right solution. Muscular system. The muscular system is one of the key systems in the human body. It, along with many systems such as the nervous and skeletal, allow you to walk and do things with your body. There are 3 different types of muscles. Each are made of fibrous tissues that allow movement. The skeletal muscle, muscles in your biceps, and smooth muscles, some in your esophagus, and the cardiac muscles, which are in your heart. The skeletal muscles are muscles that are connected to your skeleton and allow you to do much of the movement you do every day. Smooth muscles are involuntary muscles that are very flexible. The cardiac muscle are muscles that are specialized for the heart and mostly on the heart, and help it in flowing blood through your body and allowing your heart to beat.
Nervous system. Stress makes your brain produce a rush of adrenaline. Once it is all released, the physical symptoms are found, such as high blood pressure, increased heart rate, and etc. Respiratory system. During stress, you breathe a lot faster as it attempts to distribute oxygen throughout the body. If one has asthma or any other breathing issue, this would have an even worse effect on their body. Immune system. Stress stimulates the immune system, which at first could be a very good thing. Over time, however, stress can weaken your immune system. It can also reduce its ability to defend against foreign invaders. It can also cause your body to take longer to recover from an illness or injury. Muscular system. Your muscles will tense up when they are stressed. Tight muscles can cause pain in many areas. They can give you many aches such as headaches, shoulder pain, and much more. Stretching or flexing out your muscles can help with this situation. Nervous system. The nervous system is very important to live as it stimulates everything you do. In fact, without it, your sensory system would have no purpose and would cause all your other organs to malfunction. Under stress, the nervous system is really pushed to limits. The hypothalamus gets the mind going. It also tells your adrenal glands pumping, which are responsible for producing adrenaline. It tells these glands to reduce the stress hormones. It is these hormones that rev up your heartbeat as well as quicken your breathtaking. They send blood to the places where it's most needed, such as your muscles, lungs, and other organs. When the stress is gone, the hypothalamus usually makes sure everything is normal. It tells all systems to go back to normal. As the stress continues, however, the rush will not go away. This can be very harmful to a person if they have chronic stress. Some symptoms are overheating, not eating, alcoholism, and social withdrawal. Cardiovascular and the respiratory systems are both directly related to the nervous system and stress. As stated in part 2, stress can cause the nervous system to produce an adrenaline rush. This causes a quickened heart rate and faster breathing. This shows us how if the nervous system is impacted by stress, can cause other systems to respond to the stress by giving it a very hard time to your body, as many of your systems would overheat. A possible low-stress career could be a yoga teacher. Yoga is well known to reduce stress, especially tension, in your body by use of various breathing techniques, and thus being a yoga instructor could greatly reduce stress in a person. A high-stress career would be a doctor or physician. As a doctor, many lives depend on you. You could also mess up very badly doing one simple mistake. Trying to be very careful and slow with so many patients could put high stress into somebody's body, especially if they have a limited time to do something crucial like save someone's life. Venn is the only one who has thought about a possible career. Venn is thinking about being a doctor with strong influence from his parents. As stated in part 2, a doctor is a very stressful career, which means Venn would have a lot of stress on him in order to succeed. He already has a severe amount of stress, as recorded by the stress test, which means that putting this much more stress on him may not be good for his health. We have thought of 3 good ways to cope with current stress. Yoga, as stated in part 1, can greatly reduce stress. It lets you take time away from stressful things and is great for easing tension. The second key way to cope with stress is watching Bob Ross videos. His quiet voice and lax videos help reduce stress by forcing us to calm down and relax. This lowers the heart rate and clears breathing tension. Wait for your mind to clear and think of ideas because that is the only way you will ever be able to think of the project. The final solution is to vent or let it out. Do something to let vent the stress and anger away so it does not build up in your body. Shouting and punching a pillow may seem violent, but they are just outlets that allow us to get rid of the high tension and anxiousness that is building up in our bodies. So go outside, shout, or do whatever, as long as it's not violent, to let that stress out and then come back right to the things you need to do. Stress is very easy to cope with and reduce if you can do it right. Thank you, Ms. Baxter. That was our presentation. We hope you enjoyed.